So that the Storm Prediction Center has amped up our chances of severe thunderstorms to a level 3 enhanced risk. Numerous severe thunderstorms possible, including all of the I-35 corridor areas east of Highway 281. And as you widen out the view, a lot of territory through the Lone Star State. If you haven't already downloaded our Storm Tracker weather app, I urge you to do so. It's free and it will alert you when there are watches, warnings, and advisories. We will do the same on air and online as well. As you can see, the tornado threat 10%, including a risk of EF2. Those are strong or even higher. Hail risk 2 inches or more possible in red, and even the wind threat is going to be something significant. So I can't tell you enough how much I want you to be prepared. Dew points are on the rise. In addition, we could also see some flood threat with the heaviest rain off toward the east. All right, let's go hour by hour. Overnight tonight, pretty quiet. By morning, nothing serious or severe, but there could be some light rain that moves in. Occasional embedded thunder, then a little bit of a lull toward midday, and then here you go by 3:30 in the hill country, by about 4 to 5 o'clock in the I-35 corridor, and this could be quick in and quick out. 7 o'clock already pushing east of the I-35 corridor, but those storms could be nasty, and it's possible we could see some renewed storms out toward Fayette County as we head toward pre-dawn on Tuesday. Good news, though, after we get through sunrise Tuesday, we've got dry weather, and that dry weather will last for the entire upcoming week. All right, so there will be some pockets of embedded heavy rain. There could be tornadoes. I want to make sure that you know your safe spot and that you know when there is a warning. You need to be on that lowest floor, away from any windows. We'll keep you updated, and we will be right back. We are just hours away from the arrival of rain, and tomorrow late afternoon and evening is when the weather alert goes in full force for potential of severe thunderstorms. And this isn't your average ordinary weather alert. This is a heightened weather alert. Large tornado threat, large hail threat, and most of our area is under the possibility of all of that. Right now, 64 degrees, our high made it up to 80. Here's a look at your day planner. Now, if you're waking up in the morning, I know kids going back to school after spring break, not looking.
What's up? It is Chicago Windler, and yeah, I know it's after 1 a.m. I've been perusing the latest information from the Storm Prediction Center. Of course, they put out their latest update not too long ago. It's an enhanced outlook. Oh, and we got a little friend. We got our Ewok here. Enhanced outlook for severe weather on Monday. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the latest computer models as far as that is concerned. I know it's late, but I know there's a lot of interest as well with what to expect weather-wise. So without further ado, let's get to it. Skippy's around here too. He's chewing on R-E-A-T. All right, so really quickly, I'm going to run through. Charlie, hello. Thanks for staying up late tonight. Going to run through kind of the week ahead. And honestly, the only thing that is of consequence is the big bad weather alert day on Monday. Showers, thunderstorms, potential for rotating storms, large hail, all of those things are fair game for our area. David, hello. Thanks for checking in tonight. Thanks for staying up late. After that, a cold front pushes through in the morning on Tuesday. Charles, I expect that you'll be up. And Rhonda, hello. I figured you might be up as well. Behind that cold front on Tuesday, we're just going to see cooler air move in, a reinforcing shot of cooler air on Wednesday, and a dry cold front coming through Friday night into Saturday. So all of that is pretty inconsequential. The big story, though, is the threat for severe thunderstorms. And we'll take a look at some of the latest high-res computer model data as well. Earlier, we had sunshine, and now we've got southeasterly winds that are pretty breezy out there, pumping in not only the warmth and the wind, but also the humidity. And that humidity is one of the components that you need in order to have severe thunderstorms. As you can see, temperatures are unseasonably mild across the board. Our high earlier made it up to 80 degrees. And, you know, we do need the rain. We've only had it, sorry, it's not popping up because it's after 1 a.m. We only had 1/10 of an inch of rain all the way through the first 20 days of the month. By the way, happy spring. Spring officially arrived at 10:33 in the morning. Sally Wood, Keon, of course I knew you there. Bob, I saw your text. I didn't have a chance to respond because I was firing up the feed. Also, just want to let you know that Eastland Fire Complex, it was 30% contained earlier, but there is still quite a bit of smoke that's been meandering across mainly northern areas. The red dots are fires that are new within the last 24 hours, so you can see it was a pretty active day. The orange dot's a little older, and the yellow dots are within the last 6 days. So air quality right now is in the good range. Hey, Skip. We got a Skippy sighting too. They got their haircut. Oh my goodness, they're so sweet and so nice. Um, so air quality for Austin is in the green, which is good, but it is in the yellow for many adjacent areas. All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of all of this. Wind speeds currently 13 miles per hour in Austin. We got some gusts over 20 miles per hour. As we look ahead to your Monday, this actually should be Monday again because it's after midnight. It's fast forwarded. Yes, I know, I know. I will run you outside in a little bit. Let me finish up this first. He's like, take me out. Although I know my husband took him out right before he went to bed. But even though we're going to see extra cloud cover, extra moisture, and potentially bad storms, you're going to notice that fire danger is still going to be in the high range through parts of the hill country. And you might be wondering, why is that? Honestly, some of the computer models are developing the storms along a dry line, basically from Blanco and Burnett counties points east. So there's no sure bet that you get much rain or relief out in Mason and Gillespie counties despite this system moving through. All right, so that's it on the fire end of things. Now let's talk about this weather alert. We've got rain, we've got severe weather, and unfortunately, there could be large tornadoes, there could be giant hail, there could be very gusty winds. The setup is not good. So 63 degrees your temperature, and here's what I'm anticipating with your hourly forecast. I do think that we're going to see some spotty light rain and maybe some isolated non-severe thunderstorms that kind of work their way through the morning hours. In some cases, it might be even more like drizzle, if that. There may possibly be some breaks in the overcast around the lunchtime hour, which, if there's enough of that destabilization of the atmosphere, that could in turn start the process of popping up some nasty storms that already start to rotate. Then we could see line of storms developing with embedded supercells along them, with the dry line itself. That's that dividing line between the warm humid air to the east and the very dry air to the west. And I think that would be most likely to happen during that 4 to 6, maybe 7 p.m. timeframe in Austin, and then head off to the east. So honestly, just be prepared for rain at any point of the day, but the worst corridor of time for potential nasty storms, tornadoes, etc., midday through early evening for Austin, and possibly lingering for areas to the east as a cold front pushes through late night Monday into early Tuesday. All right, so we've got a lot of components to talk about. We have Gulf of Mexico moisture, which is pulling in our southeasterly winds. We also have what's called a low level jet. Basically, the jet stream is that river of air, and the river of air at the lower levels is pumping in a lot of moisture. At the upper levels, we have a plume of Pacific moisture, and that Pacific moisture is basically overriding the low level moisture. So we have moisture in multiple places. And basically, you need moisture in order to be able to feed storms. At the same time, we got a complex of, an area of low pressure, a trailing cold front, and then another cold front behind it with the upper level system. It's cold enough for snow in parts of the Rockies. And essentially, what's going on at the upper levels of the atmosphere is what's called a trough of low pressure. And basically, it's a big dip like so in the jet stream, which is enabling the colder air to kind of wrap in behind the system. So we've got cold air wrapping in at the upper levels. And of course, at the lower levels, we've got all this warm, humid air. So we always talk about how the clash of air masses is often what will trigger bad storms. So I thought I would show you the instability tracker, which is basically showing when we see the biggest increase in fuel for storms. Take a look. Here's the timeline, and this only goes through like midday into early afternoon. But through early afternoon, you can easily see that our instability kind of gets into this green. But then as the day wears on, this computer model only goes out a certain number of hours. As the day wears on, we're going to see some of that instability reach into the yellow and possibly even orange. The higher the instability, the more likelihood that we see severe thunderstorms develop. So it's going to be quite the situation, I tell you what. Let's see. Lots of rain. Sally says, yay to Skipper. Laura, hey, Laura. It didn't surprise me at all that she would be on board. And Lauren, hello, said prepare for tomorrow. Laura says, Skipper's cracking you up. Yeah, and he's right here below me again. He's like, come on, Mom, just do it. Hanson, how are you? Nice to talk to you. I wish it were under different circumstances. All right, so when we talk about the severe weather outlooks, the Storm Prediction Center categorizes them, easy for me to say, on a scale of 1 to 5 for severe weather risks. So if we're in the 0, which is not in our area at all, then that means thunderstorms possible, but nothing severe expected. If we're in a level 1, which is honestly what our typical storm environment is a lot of times here in Central Texas, and sometimes we even get in a tizzy over a level 1 threat. Certainly a level 2 threat, which is yellow, we'd start, getting all excited about. But when there is a level 3 threat, that is the enhanced risk. This means numerous severe thunderstorms possible. Just to give you a little perspective, an enhanced risk means more persistent, widespread, a few intense storms. And note the picture here. This is, golf ball sized or larger hail busting windshields. That's the type of power and the type of storms that you can get with an enhanced risk. And unfortunately, tornado risk will also be a factor. So that's the way things shape up. The latest Storm Prediction Center outlook came out, and it really didn't adjust all that much from what it was showing earlier. Looking at apples to apples, it looks like it may have nudged just ever so slightly from right across the Highland Lakes to just west into the far eastern sections of Llano County. And it looks like it also adjusted, well, no, it's roughly right through the central part of Blanco County. So overall, the enhanced risk really didn't move all that much. And as we widen out the view, we are not alone in this threat. It extends all the way up toward the south side of the DFW area, all the way east toward near Shreveport, all the way south toward near Houston, College Station, Waco, Tyler. You get the idea. This is going to be a widespread, big deal kind of situation. Carly, hello. You say it's supposed to get Austin High this week for your internship. Glad that tomorrow is an optional day. Oh, that is good. Yeah. Get through tomorrow and then the rest of the week looking just fine. Um, Nervous about your windshield. I actually had someone on Facebook earlier saying they have a brand new car and they were worried, and it's kind of like, oh, I hope it doesn't come to fruition. Which here are the risks. This is brand new, coming from the Storm Prediction Center with their update not even a half hour ago. Unfortunately, you can see those big blobs of red for tornadoes, for hail, and for wind. Let's take a closer look in our area of the exact threats. Okay, so I don't like this at all in any way, shape, or form. See this big area of red right here? This is not only a moderate risk, a 10% risk of tornadoes. 10% is a lot when it comes to tornadoes. Not only is it a 10% risk, it is also a risk of EF2 or stronger tornadoes. So that means it's not going to be one of those minor spin-ups or touchdowns or this kind of thing. EF2s are significant tornadoes. So please, Bob says get home before 5. Yeah, things are going to start getting pretty rowdy once we get into the afternoon and evening rush hours. So EF2 or greater, we're talking significant tornadoes. At the same time, let's go a little bit to the east and we'll take a look at the threat for hail. And in this instance, the highest threat is in red, but you'll notice even out west of there, the Storm Prediction Center has put in what we call a hatched area. That little diagonal line corresponds to a threat for 2-inch, which is egg-sized or larger hail. So we're looking at larger than golf balls. And just for perspective, a quarter, 1-inch diameter hail is considered severe. So we're looking at hail that will be at least double that, if not more. I wouldn't be shocked if we deal with baseball-sized hail in some spots. Wind is not as high of a threat, but you can certainly see that in the red, which is east of I-35, there is a moderate risk, a 30% risk. In Austin, it's a 15% risk. So when you put these all together, it basically means sound the alarm, weather alert, weather alert, weather alert. Bob says, can you park close to the house on the east side? Not a bad idea. At my work, I'm out in the open space too. There is there's like a little awning out front, but there are rules, and for the longest time the station management has been like, nobody parks under the awning. But I can tell you what, if it gets really bad and if there's hail coming for the station in North Austin, I I might ask for special permission to pull my car in. We'll see, if assuming I even have time. Another thing that I've been watching all day long is dew points. You know what? This morning it was crisp. It was actually cold. Believe it or not, ABIA, Austin Berkshire Airport, had a 33 degree low temperature Sunday morning. How things have changed. You walk outside now and you're like, oh, it feels a little muggy. Well, here's the thing, these dew points, that's a measure of moisture, are in the mid 60s in Corpus. I was checking some of the computer models. By midday Monday, we could have a dew point around 67 degrees. That's like gross. That's like way up here in the upper echelons of muggy. 70 plus is what I reserve for miserable. But for March, this is really, really bad and quite a bit, you know, heftier in terms of giving you the potential to see all the moisture to feed in with the instability to make for bigger storms that are, you know, it just all kind of goes hand in hand. Sabrina says, love the chat, the side chat. Oh my, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that. I have kids and a husband who enjoy gaming. And so I was peeking over their shoulders and I was like, I can do that with weather. And so anyway, here you have it. JW, what's going on? You say still around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. arrival time. So I'm thinking Hill Country probably initiating 3, 4 o'clock. I-35 probably starting from 4 through 5, maybe 6 o'clock. So I would say kiddos getting home on the school bus, don't let them go out and play afterwards. Keep them inside. If you've got soccer practice, if you've got after school activities, probably not. I would not recommend based on what I'm looking at right now. Obviously, we also could be dealing with some potential for significant rainfall. The highest potential would be off to our east, however. That's because there may be an additional run of storms that fires up as the cold front pushes through overnight Monday and into early Tuesday. Now, I haven't looked at the latest run of this particular computer model, but earlier we were going to see a few little showers early in the morning by about daybreak. So sure enough, this is not heavy. And honestly, this computer model, it's called the HRRR, the HRRR computer model. This computer model does often overdo like the light stuff. So this may be more like spotty shower / drizzle in the morning. There is a small potential though, as the instability increases, that we start to see some embedded thunderstorms here and there. So by lunchtime, this looks pretty benign. It doesn't look that impressive. However, the fact that we see a lull and then look at this, we see sunshine out to the west of our area. Sunshine in a storm environment like this is not our friend. You know how sometimes we talk about how there is a cap or a lid on the atmosphere, and that's why I'll say, oh yeah, storms aren't going to be too bad here because we've got this warm layer of air aloft and it's going to keep us capped and we're not going to be able to materialize really big, nasty surface-based storms. Well, the indications for the Monday event are that there will be little cap to have to overcome. So, with that said, sunshine is not your friend because sunshine allows temperatures to get warmer. The warmer the temperatures, the more unstable the air. You see where I'm heading with this? And at the same time, we're going to be watching that dry line. That dry line, again, is the line between the warm, humid air and the dry, less humid air. And oftentimes you can detect it by looking at also a wind shift. So it looks to me, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's a little faint here. Looks to me as though at lunchtime, that delineation, that line dividing the, in this instance, southerly winds here from a more westerly wind here, that dry line or that delineation might be around midday out just to our west. Okay, so let's look. And by the way, even at midday, there may already be lots of stuff. We call it convection, lots of storms bubbling up even to our north. But through around lunchtime, things should be pretty quiet overall in our area. And that will not last because mid-afternoon, we may start to see all of a sudden in those areas that have seen some sunshine in the hill country, as that dry line progresses closer, we may, boom, start to see storms just fire up all of a sudden. Right now, this computer model is saying 3:30, and I will tell you, it has adjusted a bit. When I was putting my forecast together early in the afternoon, the timing looked closer to 4:30 for Highway 281. And then as of later this evening, it looked more like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So this can shift and could change, but for now, looking like, say, late afternoon in the hill country. And then watch what happens as we head toward 4 o'clock. We're starting to see some of the heavier embedded storm activity try to make its way a little bit farther to the east. Let's go ahead and advance in time toward 5 o'clock and talk about a change. Did you see how all of a sudden we've got these colors in the bright pink and we've got these colors in the bright reds? Just so you can see, I'm going to zoom in for you and we'll take a closer look at kind of, and again, this is a computer model. It is not gospel. It is just an idea of what could potentially develop. Clearly, I get excited when we have oranges and reds on radar. If we, for some reason, end up seeing these storms really develop like gangbusters, certain things I want you to see are here we've got more of a southerly wind. Here we've got more of a southwesterly wind. So there's definitely a boundary happening there. And anytime you have storms that look kind of like beans, um, those are often storms that are rotating. And anytime that, even on a radar, a potential radar looking thing, you might see these little things that look almost like little notches, and those can be areas of potential rotation. That those can be indicative of supercell thunderstorms that are, rotating, and obviously would be suspicious for potential for nasty tornadoes and nasty giant sized hail. So I'm not saying this is going to happen exactly like this at 5 o'clock on the dot, but I'm saying when you see a computer model showing something like this, it definitely makes you say, oh, hey, how are you doing there? And Bob says the 5Z is painting greater coverage. A good thing for those who don't know. Thank you so much for telling me, Bob. So just so you know, the one that I put in here was the extended HER because it goes out for more hours. Let me see if I can find the one that just has the latest run of the hourly forecast. Oh, and then also I was going to say I can show you all a different computer model as well, this is called the graph computer model. Let me pull it in real quick. And this is going to show you a statewide view of future radar. Disregard the front. That was from a different storm system, so ignore the front. But we'll go ahead and work through time. And okay, so sorry, it went by so fast. Let's go back through time. Okay, so this is showing about 11:30, a few storms, mainly to the north. It does show a little, not as much at 5 o'clock as what we were looking at with the other computer model. Worth noting, you can see that dividing line right across the kind of Blanco, Burnett County area. That would be where the dry line position is per this computer model. This is called the graph. It's from IBM. And then this basically not as bad as what I showed you previously with the bright shades of red and purple. However, you can see by about 1 to 2 a.m. That things do get going with the actual cold front itself starting to push from west to east toward our area. So in this particular computer model, we're looking at a longer duration possibility of rain and storms, especially toward the pre-dawn hours of Tuesday. And then look how it really starts to get nasty just to our east by 6 a.m. on Tuesday per this computer model, which this is quite a bit different timing-wise and positioning-wise than what we saw earlier. And in this instance, if this were to pan out, it would be a much worse scenario for our eastern communities as opposed to right over the Austin area. So just going to show you that high-risk computer models do differ, and then this would all be out of all of our hair later on Tuesday. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. Let's also look at the rainfall projections. And then I'm actually going to have to get done with this because I just realized it's 1:25 and Avery Tomasco is going to get in here soon and say, wait a second, I need the computer so I can do my job. After all, they do go on the air at 4:30 a.m. This particular computer model is showing very little, if any, rain in the areas that need it worst. but you can see this little area right in here. And again, placement is not going to be exact, but the idea being some areas will get a quarter of an inch or less, and other areas will get plentiful rainfall, possibly enough to cause flooding. So as I zoom in here, let's say that the heaviest rain ends up picking up right over Northwest Austin, let's say. Let's see how much rain that's showing. 2.6 inches is what this is suggesting. Jollyville area, 2.1 inches. Again, not going to be exact on the positioning, but just showing you that there could be quite a bit of a discrepancy in how much rain some areas get versus others. As we look toward Milam County, maybe someone like Thorndale picks up 3 inches of rain. So just know that, there is the potential for some very heavy rain in portions of our area. On the other hand, remember I showed you the highlighted area for flooding is to our north and east. It is a much higher probability that there are what we call training cells or much more slow moving cells that could cause, look at this, 6 inches of rain, almost 7 inches of rain into portions of East Texas. So just keep in mind, it's going to be bad, but the exact details may vary slightly here and there. Rhonda says, oh, yes, please, for Georgetown. JW says, seen a lot of chasers saying they're coming here. Yeah, there are a whole lot of chasers coming here because they believe, yes, that the storms, essentially, sometimes the worst storms are right when you see initiation along the dry line. Before supercell thunderstorms have a chance to congeal into a line, because once they become a line, generally the tornado threat is for weaker tornadoes, and just wind damage becomes more of a deal. But very initially, whenever storms develop right along that dry line, monster hail and tornadoes, because at that point the storm environment hasn't been tampered with. And so that's why a lot of chasers are going to try and catch the storms right when they initiate and be right on it whenever they're at their height and their nastiness, as opposed to waiting for a line of storms to catch up to wherever they may be. And once that line forms, then more likely we're dealing with the flood threat and bowing areas where heavy, high winds just within those segments will develop. Let's see. West of I-35 at 4 p.m. for the initialization. And so initialization is like when the storms like get going. So that's pretty daunting. That would be a bit earlier time frame for you all to be prepared. So in this instance, as soon as the kids get home on the bus, bring them inside, be ready to go to your safe place should things escalate in a real hurry. And then two of the non-high resolution computer models, these are the more like mid-range computer models, the American model on the left side, the European model on the right side, are showing the heaviest rainfall totals generally to the east. But again, don't take this as gospel. This again is the look at what happens after the storm pushed through. So we're talking Tuesday. It will then be a situation where that colder air being pulled in behind the system is going to be right over us. So we may see highs only in the 60s to near 70 degrees on Tuesday, just so you can kind of like imagine that. And then this morning, if you were up and it was like chilly and crisp and that kind of thing, we could see another very chilly and crisp day on Wednesday, and also with some blustery northwest winds. So all of that will be courtesy of this latest system. So then we have the forecast, which finally starts to look more like spring again on Friday. But it does appear we're just going to have that one day of storms. And then here's a look at Wednesday. We're quiet. Yeah, I'm sure you're probably saying, but wait, is there really going to be snow out in far west Texas? There could be. That's the colder air dragging in behind that upper level low. And then as we look ahead to Thursday, we're sunny, but still a little cooler. And then we finally start to see a warmer trend as we head toward Friday. A lot of times I look at upper level energy to kind of give you an idea of where the most potent storms might be. And granted, this, because of the time being so late, is showing Tuesday as the start time. But in general, you can see there's going to be a pretty, this is at the upper levels at like 500 millibars. It's going to be a pretty big, what we call area of low pressure, somewhat elongated, that is going to be moving through West Texas and Mexico. And then it's going to kind of pivot and then move its way off toward the north and east. So this is going to create more severe weather threat this way out through Louisiana and farther to our east as we head into Tuesday. And it could bring significant, actually, the risks are higher even than in Austin for the following day farther to the east, if that makes any sense. So yeah, we are not done with hearing about severe weather. And you can see on Wednesday that the area of disturbed weather at the upper levels moves a little bit farther to the east. And then as we head, it'll continue moving on. Finally, I'm going to wrap it up with a look at the pattern as we look ahead toward the end of March into early April, which I can't believe we've made it this far, but we should see a generally average to slightly above average temperature trend through that trek. And at the same time, precip-wise, we're actually going to go to a drier stretch for our area, and the storm track will be a little bit farther to the north, bringing the wetter conditions farther toward the north. All right, and with that, I am going to show you the 7-day forecast one more time, and then I'm going to sign this off because chances are Avery's like, any day now, I need to get going. So anyway, yeah, you can see 78 degrees, the forecast, watching a potential for storms. And, obviously this is going to be something that we'll continue to kind of monitor all through the morning hours. Avery will be on it. And then also all the way through the day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing as much as I can here from home, just keeping tabs on things before they get really nasty. And then I will also, once I get to work tomorrow, and I've got it all set up for making sure that you guys know exactly what to expect, and we'll keep you updated. So thanks so much for checking in. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe, be prepared, don't be scared. Bob says getting some sleep. Scheduled to end in Houston. You're going to be busy. Yeah, everyone be ready for potential severe weather. Diego asking, could the severity lower tomorrow? It could. It could also go up tomorrow, but I would say this close to the actual timing of the storms, I would say even if it does go down, it probably won't go down significantly enough for us to be out of the woods altogether. So just so you'll know. All right, those of you on YouTube, thanks for joining. As always, have a great night. Updates 4:30 a.m. on CBS Austin News.